Hey there everyone, welcome back to the Game Vault for another video. We're going to talk about the Elder Scrolls Online today and the introduction of a new character who, of course, is gender confused. Aren't we all these days? We're just a whole bunch of confused little folks just all skipping around trying to decide if we got a PP or not. Anyway, let's cue up the music and we're going to talk about this nonsense. Alright, so the Elder Scrolls Online introduces gender-confused companion voiced by Drag King Vico Ortiz. I made the mistake of looking up this individual, so you don't have to. This is Vico Ortiz, who looks like a Hispanic, what's her name, Elliot. Yeah. Anyway, the one that played Kitty Pryde in the X-Men movies. Ellen Page, yes. Post-op Ellen Page. Hispanic style, though. That's what this person looks like. Anyway, let's get back to the story here. I'm tired of these people. The women never look like men. They just look like next-level lesbians. And the men never look like women. I mean, it is a rarity. They've got to spend a fortune to do it and dedicate their life to it to even remotely start to look like a woman. But for the most part, they just look like these weird degenerates dressed in women's clothing. It's freaking horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying that we condone this type of behavior in adults who are obviously suffering and sick in the head and need some kind of mental health help. But no, we just sit there and congratulate them. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're so amazing. Oh, yeah. Nonsense. Stop doing it. If you got a friend that's doing that, try to help them. You may lose the friend in the end. You may save them. I don't know. Try and help them. The Elder Scrolls Online announced 2 new companions. It is adding to the game, with one of them being a gender-confused high elf named Tanler, who is voiced by Drag King Vico Ortiz. So I guess Drag King is the opposite of a drag queen, a woman who dresses like a man. So is that a transgender person? I mean, I don't know. I don't know the rules. They change them hourly, so I honestly don't know. Like I said, this is the first time I've heard of a drag king. So I guess it's just, a lot of people are like, well, drag queens are just normal guys that like to dress as women. No, they're not. Okay, give me a freaking break. The official Elder Scrolls Online account on X shared Meet ESO's newest companions are ready to aid you across Tamriel. Tanler and Zerth Var both will be available when Update 44 launches, either in the Crown Store or included with an ESO Plus membership. Meet ESO's, there it is. In a subsequent post, the company provided a profile on Tanler and referred to the character using themselves. Because that's what the High Elves did back then, man. Yeah, they were they-thems. It posted Tanler profile, brash and energetic. Tanler finds themselves in a plot that could change the course of the Aldmeri Dominion. I can't believe we're still using themselves in a singular fashion for people. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It really is. I mean, if people want to call themselves that, that's fine. Do it, That's your thing. That's your gig. Whatever. But it's stupid. And when you read it out loud like that, you can hear how stupid it sounds and how ridiculous and out of place it sounds. As for the second character, the company shared that Zerth Var is a member of an ancient order of Khajiit priests harnessing necromancy to redeem fallen souls. Furthermore, it revealed that he's a Khajiit, they just said that. Wears heavy armor and wields a 2-handed greatsword. His perk assists in finding heavy sacks. Okay, and he's voiced by Darren DePaul. I bet he's finding some heavy sacks out there, but he ain't going to find one on Tanler because Tanler doesn't have a sack. Anyway, gamers are none too pleased about the inclusion of Tanler and are letting ZeniMax Online Studios know. One wrote, pointless virtue signaling these companies never learn. Crush Override said that, right? Deep Lore 5, thank you. Because let me tell you something, my friend. You are absolutely right. We have watched failure after failure stack up doing this kind of crap, doing this kind of virtue signaling, playing around with these woke ideologies and all this nonsense, and they have just fallen like dominoes, and they're going to continue to do so. Now, again, I'm a realistic person here. I'll talk about these things, and I may not like these things, and I may, talk bad about them and all that, but I'm also realistic here. This isn't going to destroy ESO by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not sure of the numbers on it, but I know it's a very successful game, and tons of people play it constantly, religiously, right? So this is not going to destroy the game. But what it will do is taint the game. And it's like the first little melanoma on your skin. It might not be bad, it's harmless, whatever, you don't really even notice it. But eventually it spreads, and that cancer, just like this character, that cancer is going to spread into the game further and further, and eventually it will destroy it from within. It might take a year, it might take 5 years, whatever, but it's going to happen, because once you open the door a crack, and these people get their fingers into that little crack of the door, they don't stop pushing until they're all the way in, and they're trying to change everything about the game and everything that it represents and all the characters and all that. They're going to want to rewrite history and gayify this character and, change this one to black and all this other stuff. They're just going to get in and try to do all that. And that's what they do. They destroy. They do not create. Pointless virtue signaling. These companies never learn. So they will lose some business from this, I'm sure. There is a certain percentage of people. If I played ESO and I saw this, I'd be like, I've been looking for a step-off point. Yeah, maybe this is it. And go. Just be done with it. Anyway, another posted, themselves, for F's sake, have you idiots learned nothing from Concord's failure? People don't want shit like this. And they don't. Concord, dust porn. One after another, another one corrected the company herself. Yeah, another wrote, to no one's surprise, she has blue hair. I'm so glad I quit this game. Yeah, I didn't even look at that, right? Blue hair. Probably modeled after one of the developers, some weird they-them that works at ZeniMax or something. I was like, I'm going to just model it after me, okay? Anyway, get this BS out of the game. Another posted, gender, mental illness. Got it. Games journalists such as James Troughton at The Gamer are already attempting to defend the inclusion of the character and its promotion of a disordered lifestyle. Of course they are. The Gamer, I'm sure IGN's behind it. Kotaku's probably creaming in their jeans about it. They're all loving it. His main defense is that queer characters have been in the game for a long time, and he points to the Daedric princess, specifically Molag Bal. Troughton points out to Emperor Antiochus Septim as well as Vivek, the living god of Morrowind. However, Molag Bal is literally the main antagonist of the Elder Scrolls Online, and he wants to devour and enslave the souls of mortals and attempts to sow chaos, strife, and discord throughout mortal lands. As for Septim, the brief history of the Empire Book 1 states, Antiochus was certainly of the more flamboyant members of the usually austere Septim family. He had numerous mistresses and nearly as many wives, and was renowned for the grandeur of his dress and his high good humor. Unfortunately, his reign was rife with civil war, surpassing that of his grandfather Uriel II. He is clearly depicted as a degenerate and a seemingly terrible ruler. He is not depicted as someone to emulate or role model by any means. And finally, Vivek is no hero either, despite being worshipped by the Dunmer. He had a marriage to Molag Bal, unleashed monstrous children into the world, and even rewrote his own history in order to portray himself in a good light. That's a very left-wing thing to do right there, boy. And as noted by YouTuber Fudge Muppet, it is important to remember that Vivek is also known to the Dunmer as the transcendent evolution of the Daedra that anticipated him. Black Hands met Bahala, a foundation figure for the earliest Chimer. Okay. I don't know all this lore. I do apologize. I played, some of the older Elder Scrolls stuff and all that, but I never got into EOS. And don't plan on doing it now, at this point. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But anyway, having these characters that are disordered, depicted as evil, or at the very least having a darker side and not at all heroic is extremely important. Arkwright psychonovelist Brian Nehemiah noted back in 2023 that Hollywood was able to propagandize disordered and degenerate lifestyles by having audiences identify with protagonists living those lifestyles. He explained Hollywood learned through long trial and error to make the protagonist as likable and relatable to audiences as possible. The idea is to make the audience identify with the hero. And that's true. You watch something and you're like, oh yeah, you become a part of that journey, that hero's journey. You're there when Luke blows up the Death Star. You're there when Indiana Jones makes the escape from the big boulder rolling after him. You're in those shoes with these characters. So, yeah, it's awesome, right? But anyway, and by the way it happened, and the way it happened was by Hollywood churning out decades of movies wherein heroes whom audiences identified with achieve their goals by acting according to the death cult's morals, he elaborated. Nehemiah reiterated, to bring movie audiences around to your way of thinking, show characters they like being successful by acting in line with your moral standard. And that's exactly what the Elder Scrolls is doing right now. The company is attempting to normalize disordered lifestyles by introducing this companion to the player character and have that character aid the player in their adventure and quests, right? Instead of these disordered and degenerate lifestyles being depicted as objectively evil and only lived by utterly demonic entities such as Molag Bal, or practiced by degenerate kings that almost destroyed their kingdoms such as Antiochus Septim, they are now heroic characters such as Tanler aiding the player character. And this was a problem I had with going back to Baldur's Gate. As successful as that game was and as great as it was, and everybody can heap all the awards they want upon that game, and I can see why. There was some really great stuff in it. It seemed like a very, very well done game, but I just could not get past the constant gayness in it. It was annoying. It was distracting, and it was just like it really bothered me, right? And you can call me what you want for that. I really don't give a shit about the opinions of people who don't agree with me on that. I mean, whatever. It's your world. You live in your world. I live in mine. We can all have our own opinions. It's fine. But, it's not that I hate these people. It's not a hate thing. It's, sorry to say, a disgust thing, right? If I see two guys together, it's disgusting. I find it to be a disgusting thing. It brings up a visceral feeling of like, ugh, God, I don't want to see that. If you're watching a movie and then all of a sudden two male characters start kissing, it's, God, what am I looking at? I don't want to see this crap. I don't want to see it in my video games, I don't want to see it in my movies. If you want to create entertainment for your little group of people, gay movies, gay video games and all that, I keep saying do it. But do it according to your budget and aim it for the demographic that you're trying to appeal to, because you're never going to be successful in the mainstream by doing something that's 100% with that agenda behind it. You might be able to slip a lot of stuff in video games and movies and popular existing IPs and stuff like that because they already have a built-in fan base. But if you created something new, if you wanted it, like instead of Star Wars, if they wanted to make lesbian Star Wars and they called it something completely different and they created this new epic film or this new epic television series and all that, it would have done even worse than The Acolyte did. The Acolyte it's by no means successful, but it would have done infinitely worse. It would never have got the greenlit budget, or never would have gotten the budget that was greenlit for The Acolyte under a different name and all that kind of stuff without that Star Wars banner over it. You want to make a movie like Bros, well, don't put such a big budget behind it. Make it on a smaller scale. You might recoup your money. You might make a little money. You might be a little bit successful. Well, nobody showed up for that movie, not even a gay audience for whatever reason. Maybe you went too far. Maybe you pushed too hard. Shock value and all that. People are disgusted and turned off by that stuff. Normal people find it repellent, repugnant. So stop trying to push it on everybody. It doesn't belong there. It doesn't belong in Hollywood. It doesn't belong in video games. Anyway, what do you make of the introduction of this gender-confused character? Are you an EOS player? Or ESO character? I'm sorry, ESO player? If you are, let me know down in the comments below. So it's going to impact how you play the game. Like I said, I never played it, but this would probably give me a good reason to be like, yeah, I'm going to reconsider things here. I don't like giving my money to companies that promote this kind of stuff. I'm trying harder and harder to not do that moving forward. Anyway, leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell for notifications. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. Thanks for watching today. I'll see you next time. Until then, peace.